Hello everyone, I'm Santiago, and today I'm gonna be testing Killing Floor 2 on the GeForce GT 1030. For performance monitoring, I'll be using CAM. If you want to download the software, there's a link down in the description. So Killing Floor 2, I'll be doing 1080p, 900p and 720p. To skip turn out those sections of the video, check the description below. So first I'll show you 1080p, trying to get 60 frames per second or as close to that as possible. I lowered pretty much every option at least a little bit, and most of the time I'm over 60 frames per second, but the main problem here is when many effects show up. A good way to test this is just to freeze enemies and start just shattering them. Once that happens, usually the frame rate drops quite drastically because the GPU usage just spikes, and I wasn't able to fix that even by lowering the effects setting. It's not a deal breaker if you ask me, the game still feels smooth enough. Usually you get a better experience in those moments when lowering the resolution. So for example at 720p this effect doesn't have as much of a hit to the GPU, but you have a lower resolution so the game looks blurrier. So after the 1080p tweak settings, I show you 1080p on almost the highest settings. I just lower ambient occlusion from HVAO plus to SSAO in order to avoid drops below 30 frames per second. And then I do the same on 900p. I just show you my 60-ish FPS configuration with drops below 60 frames per second when there are many effects on screen. Then I just crank it up to the max to see what frame rate we get. And finally at 720p, I just show you the highest settings because unfortunately even if I lower the effects option and ambient occlusion, when there are a lot of effects on screen, I still drop below 60 frames per second, but those drops in the frame rate aren't as drastic as on 900p and 1080p, so that's why I kept it this way. But on this game I'll just keep the frame rate at 60. The frame rate is very variable, so you're just running around on 720p as an example. You have like 100 frames per second, then you start attacking enemies and it drops drastically to 60. Then a lot of effects show up, so you just move the camera, get 100 fps, look at the effect, you drop to 50. Very annoying because the aiming feels very inconsistent. So by just disabling the variable frame rate option in the options menu, you should be fine. So that's my recommendation there. And while the options that gave me the biggest boost in performance after lowering them were ambient occlusion from HVAO plus to SSAO, there's a decent boost. Same happens with shadow quality. Effects can help you a little bit, but I recommend lowering that with shadows at the same time in order to have a greater effect on performance. And also real-time reflections is a big hit, so by lowering those options that I told you, you can usually run the game just fine. And don't even think about enabling NVIDIA Flex features because those are usually a big hit to the frame rate and introduce a lot more stuttering, at least in my experience. What happens with that enabled is that when you shoot enemies, some of their parts and fluids fly around and they're more dynamic, but that's about it. It doesn't help you to be better at the game. So yeah guys, that's pretty much it. I hope you keep enjoying the video. Thanks for watching and see you next time.
Come on! Start off! You know me now!
But many sets remain.
Watch it, siren! Ice block! Now they go! What got your attention, eh? This one's got the hunt for me! It's you, Mr. Grumpy! That's
you're done, I can reopen the trader pod.
I'm gonna burn you back to the Stone Age! Look alive, Zed's paying us a visit. Get on that stick, it's got me!
Step wisely. You've got a real fight ahead.
You know me now, don't you? Don't mind if I do.
Glad to see you made it through. Make for the pod and gear up.
Phew, I'm sweating like a handsome pig.
Bonjour. Come and get your tools of trade. There's Zeds on the scope. Must close the pod very soon. Last chance. I have to power down the pod. Break time's over. Get back to work. More Zeds inbound.
Ooh, that's nice. It's him! Sword off! Toasty top! Just picking... Damn it, my ears! Shit up! Bleed in! Come like hell! Sword off! Damn it, frosty monkey! Got a fat palm! Clean it off! Frosty's on a rampage! Load, you bastard, load! Loading up!
Up. When you're done, I can reopen the trader pod.
This is what happens when nerds run the world.
Your armor's falling to pieces. Get it fixed. Z's on the scope. Back to it, mes amis.
We've got a siren! Sizzle, you wanker! Now, hey. Look alive, Jed's paying us a visit. That's just the first. Yet? I'll sort that. Toasty time. Kill. You know me now, don't you? Got the heart for me! That was the first call. Look alive, they're paying us a visit. Not dead yet. I'll sort that. He shoots, he kills. Hope someone's taking notes. Now, don't you? Can't hear anything! Just picking them off! Frozen you out, mate!
Excellent. That's nearly all of them.
That's just the first call.
Perfect. Pod is open again. Let's get you restocked. Bring up the trading controls and upgrade your gear. Glad you made it back. Don't bleed on anything.
Don't mind if I do.
Maintain the area's security.
Whoa. Worse than that loo in Thailand. You know me now, don't you? Toasty time! Hello!
A decent beginning. Let's call that your warm-up.
Hope someone's taking notes! Ah!